Heads you win, the story of David and Goliath. It were a grand day for a battle, and the sun were shining bright. Yon Philistines, they looked right mean and ready for a fight. But as King Saul sat in his tent, just looking at his men, he knew they weren't quite ready yet, and kick-off were at 10. So Saul called out for Abner, in charge at fighting crew, and said, "Are your lads ready, Ab?" And Ab said, "Aye, they'll do." But as he glanced out from his tent, he saw a fearsome sight, and it were clear to everyone that something weren't quite right. For as he looked at Philistines, all fearsome fighting men, there were one close to 9 feet tall, or maybe even 10. Well, any road he were quite big, and glinting in the sun were pounds and pounds of armour, from his shoulders to his bum. And in his hand old Saul could see a log with a great sharp head, and he knew that if he chucked it, a few lads would be dead. Then Giant walked from sidelines to the centre of the field and started shouting something loud for everyone to hear. "Who'll fight with me? Who'll take me on? Who'll try to nick my wellies? Come on, you boys, put down your toys, you great big load of Nellies." Well, as you might imagine, old Saul was in a state, as yonder giant taunted them for almost rest at day. But then a bairn called David came knocking at his door. "I'll fight yon lad," he told them, and even up the score. "That's but a lad," said old King Saul, "but if thou wants to do, I'll loan thee all my armour so th' spear might not get through." Well, David tried the armour on. It reached down to his knees. "I'll never play in a strip like this. I'll leave it, if you please." And still the giant taunted them. It were getting on their nerves, as David thought about the God that all of Israel served. "It can't be me he's raving at. I've never met the man. It must be God he's challenging. I'll sort him if I can." And so he walked down to the banks of a nearby flowing beck to find a set of slinging stones to fire at Giant's neck. And on returning off he went with nought but a sling and shot. "I'll finish my brew when I get back, if you could just keep it hot." Now the giant saw him coming, and he laughed so much it hurt. "Who will you send to fight me next, a granny in a skirt?" But David took no notice, and his feet just kept on walking, and as he reached the penalty spot, the old lad was still talking. "I'll give your ear holes to the hungry wolves, and your eyes I'll give to thens. They'll rue the day they came to play and fight with real men." But David took no notice. He just reached to grab a stone, and as he slipped the missile in his sling, he knew he weren't alone. "You've come to me with swords and shields. I've heard you shout over and over. But I've come to you with a stone or two in the name of my God Jehovah." And as he spoke, he swung his arm with everything he'd got, and with a final burst of speed, the stone he quickly shot. Now Goliath had, much earlier, decided he must take an aspirin for a throbbing head to rid him of the ache. But as the pebble hit him, the aching all but stopped, as did most every other thing, and to his knees he dropped. 1-0, 1-0, they shouted from terraces and from stands, as Giant crumbled to the earth, his spear still in his hand. And finally, as a trophy, the lad removed his head. It weren't a sight you'd relish, but at least the man were dead. And as the lad's supporters stood cheering all around, young David took the head to Saul and dropped it on the ground. I said I'll do it, and I did, to raise God's name so lofty. And after all, although quite tall, Goliath was just a softy. Ta-da! Hey, thank you.